All right. So I'm going to run through this document, our wealth building tool. It's a good document, but people get a little bit confused. So I'm going to run through with you and just show you what it means and how to sort of read through it, so that if you want to use it, you can. If you want to learn a bit about it, you can. Whatever it is, don't want to go through it. So it's a really good document, really good tool. I'm going to show you how to use it. So the Guide to Wealth Building by myself, the Wealth King. All right, let's have a look. Suss it out. So step one, what do you want? So the first step of the wealth building approach is to write down in priority order what do you want to achieve in life. So it's got a link to our ebook there, which you can go and have a look at. So the 3 Kings 3 Steps to Success really identifies this. But the long story short of the whole thing is money is just the vehicle, right? Money is only there to buy and do the things that we want to buy and do. So sitting there and focusing on, I want more investment properties or I want a share portfolio, is a bullshit goal, because it's not a goal. It's a vehicle to get to your goal. So let's talk about the goal. What does that help you achieve? What are you going to do once you get that stuff? Because if you don't write that down, all that's going to happen is you're going to forever trying to chase extra zeros. Next thing you know, you're going to be 75. Yeah, you might have a couple of zeros in your bank, but you're going to be miserable and regret wasting the peak years, right? So it's really important to write that down. Some of the things, dream homes, luxury items, travel, early retirement, freedom, kids schooling, lifestyle businesses, legacy for the kids, etc., etc. It's important to focus on what you want to achieve before talking about investing and the likes. At the end of the day, the only reason we're building wealth is to do these things. So why don't we focus on them instead of just making money for the sake of it and trying to figure it out later? So this next sheet will really help you guide, it's called the prioritization document, and teaches you how to build a roadmap. So, on the left-hand column, we've got our luxuries from, most important to, so from needs up to wants. And then we've got financial freedom, so money, housing, roof over your head, family, what you want the family to do, and then businesses and other bucket lists. So you can see with the stuff on the bottom, we want to start there, right? That's our worst case all the way up to our best case. So we start achieving from the bottom up. So you can see on the side, it says if you can't do this down the bottom, then you have zero chance of this. Start at the beginning and work your way up. That way you always have a good backup step right behind you, and you can take more risk moving forward. If you risk it for the biscuit and go straight for the top without building those other ladders in place, if it fails, you're gone. You're back to square one, right? It's a really risky way to do things. So you can see some really good examples. I'm not going to go through them, but that explains itself. That really helps you sort of understand how you should be building, how you can be building your dream life. So step 2 is to assess where you are. So now that you know what you need, it's time to focus on sort of how much you need and where you're at with that. It's very difficult to know where you're going when you don't know where you are or where you're starting from. So our wealth scorecard, which is a link there for you to click on if you want to use that, can help you out as well. If you score 100%, so you get all right, you're ready to start growing your wealth dramatically, and you should have already started. So if you haven't started, you need to get moving. If you're 80 to 100%, you're ready to start growing, but you still have some foundational work to go. If you're between 60 and 80%, you're doing better than most still, but you need to reduce your risk with foundation work ASAP. If you score below 60%, so under 27 points, you need to get a wriggle on, and I'd highly recommend seeing an advisor ASAP, because you're well behind the ball, right? Most people, when they enter this, get like 30%, right? So you really, really need to make sure you check out that scorecard and make sure that you're above that 60%. Ideally, you're above that 80%. If you want to book in, you're more than welcome to do so there. Step 3, budget and account structure. So the second step is do a budget. Figure out how much is coming in and going out and where it's going, right? Then you can use our 10-step analysis process plus our wealth management app to get your budget as accurate and efficient as possible before using our ebook, Cash Flow and Budgeting, which is the cornerstone to wealth, to help you structure your accounts in line with your goals perfectly. On the next slide, we have an example of what we think is the ideal cash flow structure to achieve the most people's dream life. However, your first goal is to maximize what you have and then work towards a bigger income and keep the ratios to get to where you want to be. If you need a budget, you can get one of the following places. You can jump on our Facebook community, which has a link there for it, or you can jump on Money Smart and check that one out as well. So you can see the ideal income structure that we believe is roughly 15,000 per month, right? So 180 grand a year after tax. This is dream, not just to live your life. This is the most we can imagine most people are going to need to live their dream life. That's $6,000 per month or $72,000 a year in bills. It's $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year on luxury expenses, right? That's $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year on travel. $7,000 per month or $84,000 a year on wealth, which is $3,000 per month on your mortgage, $2,000 per month into shares, and then $2,000 per month into super. Maximizes a super contribution cap, which is tax effective, gets you on track for a very, very decent approach for your share portfolio at a certain growth rate, and then a good mortgage of $36,000 a year mortgage, which is good. You only need a $40,000 buffer. Good to go, right? Good to go. The account structure we want to start with is, you got 100% of your account, your money coming into your bills account. We want minimum 40% of that to be bills, right? So with maximum 60%, as in you don't want to be spending any more than 60% of your bills, of your money on your bills. If you are, you need to figure either earn more or spend less. Ideally, we've got 10% on towards luxuries, 10% towards travel. And then that leaves us with a minimum. You want to be saving or investing at least 20%, but you'd be ideally saving or investing around 40% of your income. Okay. And then you can split that up in line with your bills, and 6 months of your bills balance should be your buffer account. So money flow step by step. So things you need to do before this process is you want to get your foundation sorted. Our ebooks can help. Mindset ebook, a risk reduction ebook. You want to get your insurances sorted, your superannuation, and your lifestyle priorities. We've got ebooks on there. Each one of those are an ebook you can click to and have a look at. You want to pay down your bad debt. Don't save if you still have bad debt. Pay it off. Use the redraw as your buffer if you need to. 3, do you want to own a home ASAP, or would you rather invest and buy later? Decide on your answer here, so then we can work on the next parts coming in. So would you rather just own a home because that's really important to you, regardless of the money? So take money out of it. If it wasn't up to what the best money decision is, would you like to own a home, or would you prefer to invest and just buy later because the home's not that important to you? Okay. This stuff needs to be done before you should start number 1. Like it or not, if you don't, you're starting at a negative number. So how do we start? So step 3, number 1, buffer building. First thing we should be doing is with our wealth account, if once we've got our accounts to this perfect little 40-20-40 split, with the 40% of our money going into wealth, we should be building our buffer. Now, if you've only got 20, same. Whatever your percentage going into wealth is, ideally it's 40. But the first thing you need to do is build your buffer. After you've paid off your bad debt, right? After you've paid off shitty debt, we want to build our buffer into a savings account that we can't touch. So 3 to 6 months, ideally 6 months, but after 3 months, you can sort of slowly drip feed that. But let's just say for this instance, we're going to build our 6-month buffer. Okay, so 6 months of our 40%. Number 2, if you're a home saver and you can save for your home, so how do we figure this out? Take whatever the home you want to buy is, let's call it $800,000, and you want 10 to 20%. So let's say minimum 10%, meaning you're probably going to need about $80,000. Take your wealth amount, okay? And if your wealth amount divided by 3, per year, divided by 3 or times by 3 is less than $80,000, then you can't save for your home inside 3 years. Okay, you want to start saving to it. If you can save within 3 years, let's aim for the 10% target. Start saving 10% deposit. Use the first home super saver scheme and other first home benefits. Our home purchase guide can make this simple as well. But the first 3 years, if you can do it within 3 years, you're best just to save. Don't invest, don't do any of that, because market's too volatile for you to save in under 3 years utilizing that. After this, then you want to rapidly pay down to 70% LVR, loan to value ratio, so 70% of your loan to the value of the home, and then you can skip to step 5. If you cannot save for your home inside 3 years, then what you want to do is invest instead of purchasing your home between 3 to 7 years. Now, once you do this, you need to understand that you have to take the risk that your money in that time frame could dip, right? So at any given time, if your money isn't a positive and you reach the number you need to buy a home, you're welcome and able to sell it, sell your portfolio, pay any taxes appropriate, and use that money to buy your home and then start the process again. However, if in that 3 to 7 years, you have spent your portfolio is in a negative, right? You haven't made a gain. You need to commit to not selling and not buying that house until your portfolio is back in a positive and at the number you need. Okay, don't sell because you're scared. You need to hold on, because a loss isn't a loss until you sell your portfolio. Until that point, it is just a loss on paper. Okay, so you need to commit to it and hold it. Best way to do this is to make sure you're not trying to be tricky with your shares and you're just using a diversified portfolio of index funds or ETFs to get you to where you want to be, so you don't try and get too sexy and tricky and you end up losing it all on one mining company your mate told you about. Yeah, invest instead of purchasing home for 3 to 7 years and then use funds to purchase home. Pay rapidly down to 70% LVR again. And once you do that, skip to step 5. For investors, you want to make sure the first thing you do is get your super on track. Okay, you want to get your super on track for age 60 for 80 to $120,000 per annum. That's a good range to sort of look at. You need $1.5 to $2.5 million. Start getting your super on track first and foremost. Then, after your super is on track, step number 4 is you want to start outside our super portfolio, because our super needs to look after us from 60 onwards. And then we need to gap from the age that we want to retire or pre or semi-retire from there till 60 until the super kicks in, rather than the whole way, right? Just a little gap that we need to cover. So then we can start investing in shares. I prefer shares for this component, or bonds even. You can look at investment bonds, not government bonds. You can look at investment bonds, which are a bit more tax effective. And you start looking at that as well. Now your super is on track. You want to start outside the super portfolio, aim for 500 to a million. That'll generate between 80 and 100K a year for that 5 to 10 year period. And that'll get you towards your pre or early retirement goals. So step number 5, what we skip to with everything else. So what we do now you're a homeowner, right? So if you've done the first step 1 or step 2, and you're a homeowner, and you've paid down your mortgage to 70% LVR. We want to use roughly 10% of that debt, 10% or 100K, depending on which one makes more sense, debt to invest tax effectively in ETFs, shares, managed funds, SMAs, etc., by a diversified portfolio aligned with the risk. So why at 70%? You don't want to go over that 80%. Okay, I like to be even closer to 50% to save, be a bit more conservative, but you don't want to go over that 80% and pay LMI, etc., on your own home. So you wouldn't do it to there. Every 3 months to 12 months, you want to review and take tax benefits, earnings, and extra mortgage are paid via debt and reinvest into the portfolio. And you continue this until mortgage is prepaid. So this is called a debt recycling strategy, and you really, really need to see an advisor do this. It's very, very difficult to make this run smoothly if you don't know what you're doing. But this is just an open to, you don't know what you don't know, and this is me explaining I guess a strategy that is really, really tax effective and great for most people that have debt and can afford to do it. Something you don't know about, right? So I'm sharing, I'm not saying go and do it. This is not advice. I'm saying this is a strategy that we would use that could really enhance your situation. So what would happen is you get paid, your money would go into the mortgage, and then you would take the amount that you pay down the mortgage, so it'd be about, say 80% of your mortgage money, because 20% will pay in the interest. And then you take the rest every 3 to 12 months, depending how you set up, and you invest that in your portfolio. The tax benefits and the returns from that portfolio you then use to pay down the debt again, and then you continue that cycle until the debt was recycled. On top of that, you want to take some of your wealth and top up super and make sure super is on track the whole way as well. Keep contributing to super to stay on track and for tax effectiveness. So then what do we do? So then by the time, some ways into the future, by the time we hit a certain date, we'll be debt free on our own home. Plus we'll have a portfolio that generates passive income enough to cover some or all of our income requirements. At that point, we can either sell the share portfolio to pay down the debt, or we can let it pay itself off until we're completely free. We have no debt, but we have a portfolio and our own home is paid off. Please note that this is not financial advice. We've not taken into account your personal situation or circumstances, including and not limited to your budget, financial position, goals, and objectives, or your tolerance to risk. This is simply showing you a very simple step-by-step process to achieve 90% of the population's dream of home ownership and early retirement while still living a good life. Individual situations may cause for different numbers or using more investment property, businesses, complex super and tax strategies or whatever. This isn't saying this is the best or only way to build wealth. It is simply showing you how easy it can be and the fact you don't need to go for the Hail Marys or extremely risky strategies to get where you want to be. If you read this and still don't know what to do, then there is no doubt about it. You need to see an advisor. Lack of progression is your biggest risk to you, and you can book in there with us. And that is the slide. So I want to make it very clear, right? The reason you don't know about none of this shit is because of the regulation in the industry. Like, I'm not going to mince my words here, right? Where advisors are petrified to tell you about stuff is people go and take this shit that we do for a living. They try and do it, and they fuck up, and the first thing you guys want to do is go and sue an advisor or do whatever. I ain't going to play that shit, right? This isn't advice. I'm not telling you to go and do this. I'm showing you how easy it can be. If you go and take what I've done today and you go and try and do it yourself and it fucks up and you try and come after me, honest to God, worst mistake you've ever made. You're an idiot. You're a moron if that's what you do, right? This is about showing you the things that you don't know that can really help you get ahead and achieve your life simply, okay? Instead of you being a fucking know-it-all and think you can do it all yourself and you're too cool for school and then you fuck up and you want to blame someone else and sue them. You're an absolute moron if that's you. You should probably uppercut yourself 6 ways from Sunday. But that's why I wanted to share that with you. I want to show you how it can kind of look. That's not something we do with every client. That is me saying for the typical person who comes in and says, hey, I want to retire at 50 on 120 grand a year and own my own home. That right there is a very simple strategy to do that. Very, very simple, very straightforward. That 99% of people would have no idea how to do it. Instead, you'll go out and you'll try and get as many properties as you can because some dude on Facebook told you to do that. Or you'll go and buy crypto. Or you just fucking buy a random business that doesn't work, right? You join MLM, you do something like that, right? Like you take extra risks that you don't need to take. It doesn't need to be like that. Or you'll live on noodles and invest. And at 60, go, fuck, what do I do that for, right? It's me just showing you can do it all. You can definitely do it all. If you can't do it yourself and you don't know what you're doing, come and see us. Or go see someone else. I don't care. But it's right there. I've just given you everything. I've given you how easy it is to achieve it. So not achieving it's on you, not on me. It's on you. Yeah. All right. Bit risky from my part, fam, to show you that, but I don't give a fuck. There it is, right? There's the formula. There's the solution. It's up to you to see it's up to you to see what you do with it now. All love.